This episode is brought to you by Lone Wolf Paintball. They are an amazing online supplier and have been around since the beginning of the game as Michigan's premier paintball field and paintball supplier since 1987. They are rapidly expanding into the online retail space and supplying everything you need to be the best paintball player you can be. They have got it all. Head over to lonewolfpaintball.com and shop all of your favorite brands. And they also boast amazing customer service and will have this out to you with same day shipping, which is amazing. It's always nice to know that your stuff is on its way immediately so you can start to use it that very next weekend of play. Check out their YouTube, Lone Wolf Paintball, and their Instagram at Lone Wolf PB, and stay up to date with all of their deals and sales. Play the Game podcast is immensely honored to have them on board, and we cannot wait for you guys to check out lonewolfpaintball.com and become a part of their community.
What's going on, PTG Nation? Thank you guys so much for tuning in on this fine Monday morning or whenever you end up listening to this episode. If you guys heard about the new pro team, Wyldside Distortion, and wanted to get more information, this is the episode. We have the owner, Nate, and one of the players, Gunther, that has been spearheading their path and journey to the pro ranks. It's a fun conversation. And after this conversation, I'm very excited to watch them perform and see what they do out on the pro field. So without further ado, we're going to hop in the show.
That was an insane inside move by Marcelo Margot. Great communication.
And the crowd starts chanting Harmon.
Great shot by all the guys. So Tyler Harmon saved that game. He came out with 2 wins. Marcelo Margot was on fire.
PTG fam, welcome back to the show. We are excited to have you here. We have an amazing episode today. This is what, 329? We're moving.
329.
We're shaking. Yeah, let's go. We are joined by the man behind the vision, Mr. Nate Kesteleyn, and he is the owner of Wyldside Distortion and also one of the team's pro leaders on the field, Gunther Stumpf, for the first season in the pro ranks. And we're excited to break it all down. We've got, exactly how the organization has been built and up into this moment. And, where you guys are headed. So we're excited to have you here. How you guys doing?
We're doing well.
That's great. Heck yeah, man. It's good to have you guys here. Excited to watch you guys ball out this season and hear the story. I know myself, I'm super curious to hear how this all came to fruition, and a ton of people out there tuning in are excited to hear, how you guys were able to make this dream a reality of stepping into the pro ranks, and an exciting season ahead for you guys.
Yeah, it's super exciting. We're all the whole team's excited to be here, man. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, so talk to us about the journey and what what your guys' background is, how you got the band together, and what the decision was like to step into the pro ranks this year, and what your goals are.
Well, I think that kind of started quite a few years ago. So I started playing late 90s and played it was a way different world then, right? Played through 04, 05, and then I had a kid at a young age, so I took a step away for a couple of years and came back, and about 8-9 years later, late 2014, 15, 16, started playing again and then getting involved. And based out of the Chicago area, it was just it seemed obvious after a few years. I owned a field, we had a bunch of showing, people coming up and everything. But there was a big gap between the lower level divisional teams and pros. There was some pros floating around when Aftershock folded a couple years back before they rebrand or came back to life. There was really no more pro teams left in the area, so there was this big gap between, like I said, even D3 and pro. And there's, every weekend you'd have 10, 15 pro players out at Blast Camp or any other local field, and they'd be playing, but they weren't all playing for the same team. And so it seemed kind of obvious to me, hey, there's this gap. Well, I saw a lot of guys retiring purely due to the travel demands. It sucks to fly across the country every weekend. Not everyone can do that as they're starting to grow friends or families and mature in their careers and stuff like that. So the vision was there, the timing wasn't. And just the right moments weren't. And then fast forward, we talked about it behind the scenes for years, 3, 4, 5 years. And then when the Outlaws sold, and I think that was 21, when the Outlaws sold, it had 5 or 6 guys that were close friends of ours sitting on the sidelines with no place to call home, mixed with some other guys like Hank and some others that were already playing with us, maybe in D2 or like floating up the pro or bouncing around kind of right in that world. And the timing just it seemed obvious at that point. So that's when we jumped together, and we didn't have a team name at the time. We had a bunch of old Distortion blood in the ranks, and we reached out to Charlie and Happy and some others that were kind of in control there and say, hey, what do you guys feel about this? They gave us their blessing to use the name and run the organization. And that kind of is where it went from there. So we jumped into semi-pro that year, took third in our first event, and kind of grew from there. So.
Outstanding. Yeah, where are you guys both reporting from? Where are you at? Where are you guys at?
I'm in Wisconsin. I'm in Madison. I'm in Wisconsin.
All right. Shout out to the Cheeseheads.
I'm actually, I'm in Northwest Montana. Born and raised in Chicago. Moved out here about 4.5 years ago, or 4 years ago, or something like that. So a little bit different geography for us, but still the same.
The core of the team is based in the Chicago area, so we're scattered around the Midwest. So some of us are in Wisconsin, some of us in Indiana. There's a couple of us in we're all in Wisconsin, Indiana now. I think Illinois.
No, there's 2 in Ohio, or the Ohio, Cincinnati area. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're all kind of scattered everywhere, but centralized in the Midwest. Nate's the furthest one, but he was here for the longest. Then he decided to move on us.
Now, how often
he's the boss?
Yeah, he could be where he wants. How often do you guys get together to practice? Because that's kind of the meta, especially with new teams right now. Is the more time you have together, that is how you can close the gap and catch up. I know you guys were out in California practicing with Collision and Dynasty. I want to talk to you about that in a little bit, but how often do you guys get together, up in your area, since you guys aren't all really in the same exact place?
We don't see Nate as much now as we'd like to. He's busy with life and business and everything else. But the rest of us, we all try to play every weekend and hold each other accountable. If that means
Awesome.
we have 6 guys at one field and 4 at another, or whatever we can really do to make sure that we're all playing and being accountable. Like this past weekend was it was cold and it sucked. This was yesterday, but majority of us played. Haber and Nate Roberts were in Indiana playing. I was at Blast Camp playing. Unger was at our home field at Wyldside playing. It was all kind of drills, but it was too cold and the paint didn't really shoot. So it's kind of like we couldn't really play 5-on-5 or anything. So it's just a good time to get outside and just drill and just be familiar with playing again.
As long as you have the gun in your hands and you're running around making the moves, obviously the paint is always, you want to have the best as possible, but there's something to be said with showing up and going through, the art of it all as well. Getting the gear on, having the marker in the hand, shooting the paint. You want it to be as top tier as you possibly can, but just having the time on the field with each other, even if you're not at the same park, holding each other accountable, that's huge too. And everybody tapping in with each other, letting each other know what kind of work you guys are doing. That's important. It's all important stuff.
We keep like a tally with a schedule that you earn points for being at the field. So like if someone goes and plays on a drill day on Wednesday, then they earn points, and mandatory practices are worth more. So if you're not there, and then that all correlates to something you're benefited with later on. We did that last year too, and the year before, and I think it's kind of fun and a good way to keep everyone accountable. And then someone isn't in, because we try to always rent houses at events too. So there could be a benefit, like that person doesn't have to help clean because they're winning on their schedule.
I like it. Yeah.
Tell about the 1v1 belt.
Yeah, we have a 1v1 belt too, which is pretty cool. So at the end of practices, you can challenge each other for the 1v1 belt, and there's like a ranking and a seeding, and whoever holds the belt, and then there's like the gatekeeper. And that person just kind of
did you design this belt? So for all the listeners that don't know, Hank here is also formerly known as 2 Chains. That's how I first knew you for a long time, with your Ironman days. If you guys are not on the YouTube, check out the YouTube. He's got 2 bling and necklaces on right now. And actually, he made this very special necklace for me right before World Cup 2023. Hank is the man. He's got an amazing business there. But yeah, is the belt all blinged out? Did you dial it in, or is that still work in progress?
It's like the World Cup belt that you got behind you. It's just the fun belt. I wish it was a solid chunk of gold. Yeah. But if Nate forks out some more cash, we could build a nicer one.
Come on, Nate. What are you doing over there? Slacking. Who currently holds the belt?
I think it's Nate Roberts. Nate Roberts has had it for a
Okay.
while. Nate Roberts is a
Nice.
gangster. He's
He's a
so Nate
stud.
Roberts hasn't
Yeah.
made it to the pro division yet. This will be his first event, the first event. And I'm super excited for him to be there because he's a sleeper and he's nasty. I mean, he's a one-on-one champ. I would feel confident sending Nate out against anyone in a 1v1. He's nasty, and the league's gonna pick that up. He's cool.
Love that. Yeah, man. That's what it's all about. You got to be good in the 1v1s. And we try to, we tell all the teams we work with too. And I know we do as well, play a ton of 1v1s before practice, after practice. It's good for camaraderie as well. You know, it's fun.
Oh yeah, and Nate's one of those guys too, where he's very quiet and reserved. But if we ever get into a situation where we need a 1v1, we don't even. There is no like questions or hesitation. Nate's the one who's playing, and he's going to win. He's never lost one. He's going to win.
There we go. Yo,
Yeah,
I'm confused. We're calling him Hank. What happened? I thought his name was Gunther.
Okay, so my real name is Gunther. That's what I go. That's like my real name on my
That's what I
APA and all
call him.
my socials
Yeah.
and whatnot.
Okay.
Hank is like what my friends have called me for my entire life. So it kind of got two names. So it kind of like it mixes
then
in
two
between
chains.
usually, and then two
Yeah.
chains. Yeah. So I
Okay.
usually introduce myself as Gunther because that's my real name, and that's kind of what I've been going by as my business has become a little more. I don't know, it's become a little more successful in business. I've kept my real
Professional,
name
yeah.
because I like it. You know, my mom gave me that name. I should keep that name. And
Yeah.
then everyone who's
Good
met
name.
me, you know, prior in my life knows me as Hank. So there's a little bit of both.
All right, perfect. Yeah, because Verb's actually in the chat. Shout out to the Discord crew. And he's like, my man, Hank. And it kind of, I was like, Hank, man, who's Hank? There he is. Found him. All right.
Me.
We're dialed
Many
in.
aliases. Many aliases.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I love one-on-ones in practice because it really it teaches you to be able to deal with the pressure. You know, you can't really lean on anyone. You don't have teammates that you could hide behind. It's you versus somebody else, you know, and so you either win or lose the game, you know, and in paintball and 5-on-5, you can kind of coast sometimes and you know, let your teammates do all the heavy lifting, and one-on-ones you can't do that. So I think it's really important for every team to constantly play one-on-ones and really work on that, because I think for your confidence, it's very important.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, it's the camaraderie, right? So, like when all these guys are going out there and fighting over this little bit of a belt, there's some bragging rights on the weekends when it doesn't matter. You know, like you're not in front of the cameras or anything; you're just out there having fun. And I saw instantly change some culture internally when we started doing stuff like that.
We make the guy who holds the belt bring the belt to the field too. So it's like a piece of his equipment. You can't leave it at home. If you leave it at home, you get stripped. It's got to come to the field. It's got to be present. It just gives it a little bit more of like a connection.
Yeah. Yo, did you step into the other room? Is his mic is hold on. Hold on. Give us a mic check 1 2.
Hello?
Yeah,
No,
it's all
try
right.
moving it closer. Try moving it closer to your mouth, maybe.
I'm still here.
Now, yeah, it's a little better. It's weird. It's really inconsistent. It sounds decent at sometimes, and then it like completely goes away. You gotta get this, Nate. You know, you gotta get this guy a new headset. You know,
listen, man, it's our first year. Okay,
what's going on over here? You know, you got to show up prepared. What the heck? You know, you had a whole week to prepare. My goodness, man.
That's
My
true.
goodness.
We did
At least you're blinging. At least you're
You just blame me. Just blame me. I mean, it's because I've been working on jewelry for you, so just blame me.
maybe take it off because it's the audio. Let's try taking it out again. I'm sorry,
maybe
bro.
it died or something.
Sorry.
Is
about
this
that,
better?
bro. That is much better. Yeah.
Is this better? Okay, cool. We'll stay this way then.
Yeah.
There we go. Heck yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Solutions. On the fly solutions. That's all we got.
Exactly.
We
That's
make
right.
it work. We make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hank, talk to us about your jewelry business. Obviously, you have
Yeah,
a
I'd love to.
successful thing going on there.
So the jewelry business and my paintball journey kind of like start in the same place. So my mom had a custom jeweler here in Madison where I started, and his name is Dennis Simmons, and that's where the last name of my business comes from. So my business is going to be called Jewelry by Simmons. That's what it's called now. That's what will operate forever. You know, it's Jewelry by Simmons. Dennis owns a company which is Custom Creations, and he's been in business. This year is his 60th Christmas.
Wow.
So he turns 80 this year. This is his 60th year. And
Congrats.
after this Christmas, he's like, dude, I'm hanging it up. 60 years on the bench. I'm good. And when I take over his shop, because I work under his shop currently. And when I take over his shop, I'm going to change everything to Jewelry by Simmons to kind of let his name live on, let his legacy live on. And then, you know, I'll be super stoked one day to get that name to 100 years in the business.
Awesome.
But I started with him, and I started because my mom loved jewelry, and she would go in to see him all the time, and I would go in there at 5, 6 years old, and you know, fill the case with fingerprints, and you know, be like, Mom, you should buy this, buy that. And then she kind of suddenly passed away when I was in high school. And I wanted to, create something like that reminded me of her that I could use as like a piece, as a keepsake to like remember her by and wear it every day. And I had taken some art metals classes in high school, and Dennis knew that because I always like showed him the pieces that I made, because he was kind of a family friend at this point, but kind of like distant. I just like went to the jewelry store to see him. And he was like, well, dude, you took art metals classes. Why don't you just like hop in the back with me and make something? And I was like, for real? And he's like, well, yeah, dude, like it's just me and my wife hanging out here. Like my kids aren't involved with it. Like I'm just hanging out as like a 60-year-old man. Like, why don't you just like do it with me? And I was like, might as well, dude. So I did that with him. And then I was going to school for a little bit to be a teacher, actually. And I decided that this wasn't for me, completely dropped out, walked into Dennis's, and I was like, dude, I'm going to do this full time. Let's go. And he was like, he kind of set me up with the ropes, and now we're off to the races. I mean, I've gotten really, really good at what I do. I love stone setting. I'm absolutely obsessed with it. Like if I wasn't on here talking with you guys, I'd be at the shop. I can spend 12 hours a day there every day. And it's only 2 minutes down from my house. So like I'm there 24/7. I love it. Besides paintball, jewelry is my life. Like there's two things that really saved my life, is the jewelry and paintball. And it's like, I don't have anything without them.
Love that, man.
That's an amazing story. Yeah. I didn't know all that. Sorry to hear about your mom too. That's never easy at a young age, but what an amazing way to, kind of carry the legacy and keep it all together in a way,
And Dennis actually will come to all the events too. So
really,
he's the man. Awesome. He comes to all the events with us. He's super helpful. He's like, man, let me fill pots. He's like, leave me alone, I'll fill the pots. And he's 80 this year, and he still moves around real good. It's like he's the man.
Yeah, he's awesome.
And I guess a little bit of my paintball backstory that ties in with it too. So the before my mom passed, the last place I actually saw her was at Aaron Thuley's field in River Falls at Vintage, and that was the last place I saw my mom. And the last conversation I had with her, I was like, yeah, mom, we're gonna play pro. And this was when I was playing like D3, like local tournament at Aaron's Park at Vintage, and I was like, no, I'm gonna play pro. And that's the last conversation I had with her, and the last thing that the last conversation we had. So I was like, no, I have to accomplish this goal. So then I had my little stint with the Ironman. I took a little break to build my business, and now I'm back to prove a point that this is where I want to be, and I want to compete at the highest level. And thankfully, I've got someone like Nate and the Distortion camp to like elevate Midwest paintball and just prove that we deserve to be here and have a place to call home.
Awesome, man. Yeah, it's honestly an incredible story. Really excited to see your guys' journey this year, for sure. Man. I feel like a lot of paintball players kind of resonate with stories, maybe not identical, but similar, where paintball in this community has kind of opened their arms to them during really tough times and saved them from, going down a path that would have them in pretty dark times. And that's something that I'm really grateful for,
I mean, paintball, like I said, paintball saved my life. Like if it wasn't for my friends that picked me up, that drove me from Madison to River Falls, which is almost 4 hours. And we were doing this to go play at Thuley's Park, just like, for fun on the weekends. And Thuley was kind of our mentor, and he was teaching us the ropes of the game and life. And, if I didn't have my friends that started me out doing that at a young age, I don't think I would have been successful in any realm of life, because that community truly saved my life and put me on the path of like greatness, instead of going down like a deep rabbit hole of depression after my mom. And I had some pretty good friends pass away at the same time. So it was like, paintball just kind of saved my life in that way. And now I still have the release. Thankfully I have Nate and all the other good people in the Midwest. We have a field here that I can call home. And if I have a bad time in a week or whatever, I have somewhere I go, blow a little steam off, have some fun with my friends. They're always there. We're all close friends. It's great.
Yeah, man. I think that's one of the underlying most amazing things about the paintball community is when you go to these paintball parks across the country, there are going to be people in the ecosystem that are going through trials and tribulations, have been through a lot, and have a lot of guidance and just open their hearts. They open their hearts and they welcome you into their families, into their lifestyle. And it is a really special game in that regard, that it truly does save lives. I know with countless people we've spoken to, and ourselves included, I mean, this game is really miraculous in that regard. And I'm God, I can't even imagine, like you said, with your story, the types of ups and downs that you've been through, but through it all, you knew you could show up at the paintball field and have that connection, have that community and that tribe that's going to have your back through anything, and that's really what it's all about.
grateful for it. Like, I talk to other people in different realms of life, different friends or clients and whatnot. And, no one has a community like we do where we can travel across the country or travel across the world. And there's a group of people that we all know, we all recognize, and we're all just there for one common goal. And that is to win a paintball tournament, whether you're on the same team or not. Like there isn't, I don't have any other friends in different realms that are like, yeah, dude, I go and hang out with my friends from Cali 5 times a year and hang out with my friends from Texas. We have a special community and I'm super grateful to be a part of it.
Yeah, man.
It also exposes you to so many different types of people too, which I think is really important to your growth. I was just, I had this team, Lisbon Benfica, that it was the first European team that I played with in 2008. So I was 17 years old, and they actually got the band back together like 4 or 5 years ago, been playing semi-pro over in Europe, and they found some old pictures that they sent me through the Discord times. I think you saw those. Yeah. And it just brought back so many memories of like how important that time was, and really reminded me of paintball and the exposure you get to people that are so different from you. They have vastly different life experiences, vastly different beliefs, vastly different, ecosystems. But paintball was the common ground that we were able to build a friendship off of, and while we could agree or disagree on so many different things, you would find ways to work together and build a relationship. And that always, to me, really was so special, because I really think that that's how everyone says, air quotes, make the world a better place. It really is through that level of empathy and compassion and understanding of one another. And paintball is, you're right, it's just so unique. I don't really know anything else like that. I mean, there's travel, there's travel sports, travel basketball, soccer, things like that. But for some reason, it just doesn't feel the same. Paintball is so niche and such a tight knit community that even at the very highest level, you're so connected with the lower divisions and the refs at the field and the field owners. It's not like that in really any other sport. Maybe there's a few parallels, but I don't know of any. And again, I'm just really grateful for this game because of it.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
Yeah.
I want to know. So obviously we got kind of the early years of you, Nate, and then as well, Hank. We heard you're starting out and then going pro with Ironman, and now to be back on the pro field. But when you started out in the '90s, Nate, what was the team? And I'm sure you started playing hyperball? Like it was the late '90s, right?
Yeah, it was before airball. So it was when it was like most woods and a little bit of hyperball, a lot of it out of Badlands in Chicago area. So, I mean, there's a bunch of teams back then, but the ones that stand out are part of the Farside camp, Farside Kids and Farside, part of the Shock camp, briefly, not pro level, but lower level stuff. And played for a pro team for, I remember, a year or two, called Wone Concepts, which is a guy that just came out, had some money to sling. So we played there. And that the divisions weren't the same as they are now. So it wasn't exactly, it was labeled differently, but basically what would be pro. And like I said, I was doing that at that level until I think it was 04 was my last full season. And I came back for a couple of standalone events here and there, like the Chicago events, because that's where I was. Actually, John Iannucci, our coach, at the time I was fairly young, he started my APPA for me when it first came out. And I remember him being like, "You're registered now. Okay, cool. Where do I go? Show up here where you're playing on, on Friday," and that type of thing. So that's really where I playing at Badlands is where I met John and Bruno and everybody else. I mean, we were scrapping with them every weekend. I mean, I don't know if you guys were around back then, but it was
young lads.
You didn't get away with beating Aftershock on their home turf easily. Right?
No,
it was a brawl.
Yeah, no, that's kind of where I was headed. Is that pocket had some of the most legendary names and players in the history of our game, and still to this day, shout out to John and the whole crew out there. John's going to be an amazing coach for you guys. His passion for the game, his love of the game is evident, right? And what you were able to experience at that age, and in the early 2000s, I just started playing in like 2000. And I remember watching videos of these pockets, and I'm actually going to Chicago to be at Badlands this year. Forget which month, but I'm going out there to do a clinic. So I can't wait to be out there and see everybody soon. But it is truly an iconic area, and thankfully now has another pro team organization in the pocket there. We talk about this all the time, how important it is for us to have as many pro teams as we can in all these areas to help cultivate the talent. So in the time that you've been in the game, where do you see paintball headed, and how can we continue to make sure that it's a strong culture moving into the future. There's so much uncertainty, but what we do know is people love paintball, and we can keep building this thing forward.
Yeah, I think there's some people in the industry that get a bad rap because of their title or position, but like at the top, the vision of Tom and Jason and some others that are running it, I mean, they know where they're heading, and I support them 100%. And I know there's some people that are, especially at the lower levels, that just don't understand what all is happening behind the scenes and stuff. They don't necessarily appreciate that or get it or see it fully. They just see us like throwing crap at the wall and seeing what sticks and stuff like that. And there is a little bit of that, right? I get it. But what I've seen even in the last like 3 years of our exposure to ESPN, our being in stadiums or stuff like that, that's reminiscent to me of some stuff I dealt with in the early 2000s when we were playing at Coors Field and playing at Huntington Beach and playing at some of these venues. And the exposure to like the general public, not just our own echo chamber, but to the people walking down the boardwalks and stuff like that, that was huge, right? And I've heard about that, ran into friends along the way and like say, oh, what do you do? I do, I play or manage a paintball team or whatever. Oh, I saw that on the here or there, So like when we're talking about where we're heading, I really think, some of the visions that are in play, and you guys know some of the stuff behind the scenes, things we're heading towards, the 3-mans and stuff like that. It's going a long ways. I mean, and a kind of a telltale sign to me was we started a field in 2016, had it until we moved. And I got 4 daughters, and all 4 of them have basically grown up around paintball, because there's a field. The field was at our house. We own 10 acres. It was on the front half of our house. So every Saturday and Sunday and 3 or 4 days during the week, somebody was out there running drills or playing, and my kids were a part of it, right? They witnessed it. When NXL did the 3-man last year on ESPN, and we sat and watched it, I had my now teenager kids sitting there who, again, have been to events, ran pods, pitted, done all this stuff with us, right? Sit there and watch that and was like, hey, I understand what this means now. I get it. And they were excited. Like when I just turned it on just to watch it, right? I didn't bring them in or whatever. 5-7 minutes later, the whole family was sitting around the TV watching that, like what's going on, like it was captivating. And I texted Tom that. I told him, like, hey, when you can capture the attention of 3 teenage girls who have nothing going, no desire for paintball other than, they've been around it. They've also been in it their whole lives and didn't understand it. And in a 20 or 30-minute time block, you capture their attention. They said, this is cool. I understand this now. Like that's heading in the right direction, man. That's some traction.
I love that. And just literally every person I have ever told in my life that I play paintball or I dabble in paintball, I play little tournaments here and there. They're like, no way, their interest is so piqued and they want to know more. It truly is a captivating just topic in general. Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. The 2 things that I feel like resonated with people the most were Huntington Beach and that ESPN event. Anytime I talk to strangers about paintball, those are usually the 2 that non-paintball people have at least heard of or been exposed to. Those are the ones. So if we can continue to create those types of experiences and memories, and hopefully this upcoming event inside the Bucks Stadium that Thursday night, it's going to be epic again. For I think every single show that we do from here until the event, we got to keep, preaching. Please show up if you are going to be there, or if you're in the area Thursday. We have got to make sure that stadium is packed. We're going to have a lot of content around this. This is a very important time for the game, for the sport. So, show up and support. If you have early games Friday morning, tough it out for one night. It is what it is. Like, let's all just tough it out and be there and really make sure that this thing looks cool, because the content that can be generated from this, the numbers, it's all going to make a big difference if we do it right. If we don't do it right and it falls flat, might be the last time we see something like that. So if we want to keep the ball rolling, let's help Tom, Jason, the whole gang. If we're not able to show up, there's also going to be a free YouTube of the Thursday event. We got to share that link. We'll make sure that everyone has, all that stuff. But, this could be another one of those things. Like the meetings that we've had with Tom were really cool. Like all the graphics and the ideas that they have to make this event really pop off on Thursday looks incredible. It really looks exciting. So yeah. Let's make sure that we get more of these.
That's right. The Thursday is going to be crazy. We actually have the schedule they just dropped, and the big games are going to be at like prime time. 7 o'clock is when Damage and Impact will be playing our games, and you guys are playing against Russia. Is that right?
Yep.
Red Legion. Yep. And then we will be taking on the Tauntauns. And then you have X Factor Heat and the Femmes and Vibe, and then Paintball Fit, Uprising, the Heroines, and High Rollers. And the games start at 7. And I think the last one with Fit and Uprising is at 9. So you can be there for the 7 o'clock slot. Everybody can be there for the 7 o'clock slot. I know you go to bed at 10, 11 p.m. anyway. So get out there and watch some paintball and support us, because we really need it. And it's so important. And I don't think you all understand the magnitude of the situation that's going on. It will all probably be more clear in the future, but there are going to be very important people in that stadium. There's going to be a lot of energy in that stadium. We need to make sure that we show what we've got. So we need every single person that's in the Florida area to show out and be in that tournament. If you're flying in on that Thursday, please be there to show out and support. I was even talking to some people in AZ. They're flying out there just to go and be a part of this moment. You know,
Awesome.
It's a really special moment.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, it's free too. It's going to be free to enter, right. I'm pretty sure. So again, yeah, like if you're not going to the event, maybe make it a trip, you know,
have some
book
fun.
a flight, come for a night. I know Sahar, my girlfriend, she's coming out literally just for Thursday night. She's going to fly in, gets her Thursday morning and leave Friday. You know, it's why not? Why not?
Why not?
Take a day out of it. Yeah. Why not?
Right. It's going to be really cool
stuff. Yeah,
it is, man.
So yeah, let's kind of dive back into your guys' story and this year. You guys were out at SC Village practicing Collision, Dynasty. Was anyone else there? Just you three?
There were some semi-pro teams or D3 teams, I think, also on some other fields.
Okay. And how did that weekend go? That's obviously a pretty good test. I would look at that as a good practice because you have Collision, also another new pro team. So you can, stack yourself up against them. And then Dynasty, obviously very seasoned, a lot of veterans, really good team. How did that go?
Well, I'll be honest. I think Saturday we would have wished went a little bit better. It wasn't the most ideal showing for us. I think that was a byproduct of, we also did a kind of a working tryout at the same time. So on Saturday morning, there was, maybe not literally, but it sure felt like 30 people standing there wanting, spins. And I know, John, there was some little bit of like finding the right rhythm of who plays where and what, mixed with some of our, we have a pretty good core, like Hank had mentioned, that's all in the Midwest. A lot of them have either played more, together as on the same line or really closely together for a long time. So it's not like a random team showing up, right? But at the same time, we have some new pickups we're trying to mix in, see where they fit best. We know where they play on the field, but personality-wise too, and like who's going to connect on the field and play together well, as our twos and our 2-1 combos and stuff like that. So Saturday was a little slow, kind of finding our pace. On Sunday, we fell into a little bit more of a rhythm, we played 2 separate lines and split the guys up so we could keep track of them, and that seemed to yield a lot better results. It was more predictable for the players too. Like they knew they had they were sitting one and they had time to kind of regroup and another, while the other team was working on their stuff. Easier to coach where, you can deal with what's important now instead of trying to manage 20 personalities at the same time. It was essentially what we were doing was we had made some cuts at that point, but we were coaching like 2 7-man lines, and that's a lot, easier and more natural to handle and stuff like that. So fairly happy with how the event went. Him and Mike and Tracy hosted us and at SC, and they're great hosts, like phenomenal to work with. Did some stuff leading up to the event, helped us out. Them Greenspan also got us some gear and stuff we were doing. So it was great to have that support and great weather, great facilities. Like I said, I think we would have wished we performed a little better on Saturday, but overall we're pretty happy with how it went.
That's
no
normal
doubt.
though. When you have that many people out there and, trying to catch a rhythm, and we talk about it all the time, half the battle is the energy aspect of it as well, making sure you have the right pieces in the right spots. So I wouldn't think too heavily on that Saturday. That's just a part of that process. And then going into Sunday, that's where the rhythm started to catch. You're getting some good reps, getting some good spins, the energy starting to come together. That's really, that's the progression you want to see. And I know you probably were able to pick up some talent, I'm sure. Is there any shout outs you guys want to give on some new talent?
We got a couple of new guys we're looking at that are pretty, and we brought them on. I'm gonna be honest, we got a pretty deep roster right now. So they know it. We told them right out the gate, like, hey, we want you to be here. We love you guys. You got the good attitude, good play, but you're going to be fighting for some spins, and that's just going to be where this is going to be. So got a couple of, younger guys, Darren Perez, JP from Hawaii, we picked up. He's super coachable, super great. Vince Newells from SoCal. He came from the NYX camp.
Yeah,
Played a couple other,
Vince.
played with Collision last year, I believe. Avery, same thing, same general vicinity. And then I'm feeling I'm missing some people, but
Missing Ricky.
Ricky,
hold on,
Ricky's
real quick.
Go
Did you say Avery?
Thank you all from the bottom of our hearts for the tremendous support with the PTG show. If you are enjoying these episodes and want to help with the progress and development of this program and connect with like-minded, hungry paintball players, then head on over to ptgpodcast.com, click the orange Patreon link, and become a member of the PTG World Discord chat room. And now back to the show.
We did say
Avery Nguyen?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
He's jumping around. I know he had a couple other places he was looking at too, but I think he wants to stay with Vince. So I think that he's on our line for now. We'll see how it goes in the next couple practices.
He works really hard.
Yeah. Like none of these guys are bad guys, right? Like they all deserve to be here. They all put in the time, but at the same time, we only got so many slots on the team. So, like they're welcome to stay with us, even if they don't make the starting line, and, we'll work them in when we can as the year progresses. So,
how many do you guys plan to roster?
That's a loaded question that I don't know the answer to. So that's been being discussed. When we started the year, we said 8, right? We said that's what we wanted. It was the sweet spot.
Yeah.
Some people and talent have fell in our laps that we don't really want to they're value add. And like you guys just kind of mentioned, it's not just on the field, right?
That's right.
Yeah, you get 5 guys on the field, but we have some people that are natural leaders off the field and carrying this team. Hank's actually one of them, right? And the only 5 guys can play, but that doesn't mean you're not adding extreme value to this team in the pits.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And just because maybe this layout's not the best for you, or you're not having the best day, or you got some health issues or mental, some stuff going on in your real life, that doesn't mean, you might not make it on the field for that point, but you're still a valued part of this team. So how many are going to be on that roster? I don't know, Marcelo. Give me a couple of weeks. We're figuring that out.
We do have a practice this weekend, and all the guys are coming to the Midwest. So everyone that's not local is coming to the Midwest. We're going to make them deal with the cold a little bit. So come from Hawaii and California, then have to come deal with the 25-degree weather. It's going to be awesome. Weekend,
listen to our podcast with Ronnie Dizon before you go, because he gave all the hot tips on how to play in 25-degree weather. All right. You need cleats that are a half a size too big, so you can stuff big, thick socks and the warmers in there. He's got all the tricks. So for the Cali and Hawaii guys, I promise you want to listen to that one.
I just wear combat boots. That solves the issue. Combat boots.
Yeah,
There
solid.
we
Slipping
go.
and sliding.
We're well used to the weather. That was one of the things going to Cali. It was just like, it was nice to finally shoot your guns in 80-degree weather instead of 20, and actually be able to play. So for sure. That's always been an advantage that we've had. We've been able to play outside pretty much year round, West Coast versus East Coast. Very, very thankful for that. As far as like the roster size goes, it's a lot easier to run a smaller line that, like Tyler's talking about energy and catching a rhythm. It is really important to let players get into a groove, but I'm a fan of bigger rosters as long as it's coached properly. Cause you're absolutely right. Different players offer different utility for maybe different layouts. They offer different things on and off the field that are very valuable, and it keeps it competitive, right? So as long as it's managed the right way from the coach, then having a bigger roster is totally fine. And as long as also, the players understand their position on the roster and that they have to earn, every single event, you're going to have to earn spins. You're going to have to earn reps. You're going to have to earn the trust of the coach. Then I think that could be very healthy. It's when you get into a rigid kind of 2-line system that it can be very difficult to manage, and so it does make it more difficult and strenuous on the coach to see who's playing well and who's playing well together and what packages should be out there. But if you do that correctly, having, even 12 on the roster is totally fine. Again, damage, I think we're going to be carrying 12 bodies, but everybody offers something incredibly valuable. And even my time on Dynasty, we always had 10, sometimes 11 bodies, and sometimes players wouldn't get play time, but they're bringing very valuable things, whether it's information in the pit or helping with, even just testing paint and making sure the paint is dialed in. Like, I don't think people realize how important this is to winning. And it takes a really good teammate that might be able to start somewhere else to sit back and say, look, you know what, this, for some reason, maybe it's not my weekend is what it is, but I can find ways to still contribute to this win. And if you have 10, 11, 12 guys that are on the same page in that regard, you're going to do well. Mm-hmm. We have that right now. We got 12 awesome personalities, right? Like, we don't have the big egos. We have a lot of humility. We have a lot of just gratefulness for people to be here, for our sponsors, for the guys that are backing us up and standing here. Like, I mean, it's a cool thing to see where we get together. I mean, some of these guys, even in Cali, like they didn't know the trial people, or maybe even hadn't met one or two of the other players, just given scheduling timing and stuff. And it was an instant groove. Like, yeah, give us a couple hours to kind of like that awkwardness goes away. But it was really, by the end of the day, Saturday, it was obvious to see like these guys are our leaders on and off the field. And these guys are like, they're very coachable, and who's what. There's not, you know, we've had other rosters and other teams where they're fighting, or you kind of get personalities, and we really didn't have that.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
It's important. Yeah.
Yeah. What was your first thoughts, Hank, when you heard you guys were going pro?
So I was in the mix last year a little bit. You know, we had some of the Blast Camp kids around. They kind of left our camp. I was in the mix last year a little bit, and we've always kind of been fighting for a pro spot. I think we've taken a third. I think we took another third, like in place for the series. And then last year I kind of stepped away after the second event because I was like, dude, I need to get my business right. I need to figure out what I'm doing. And Nate was actually driving through the area to visit family in Illinois. I think it was over Christmas or Thanksgiving. And he's like, yeah, dude, I'm thinking I'm actually gonna buy a pro spot this year. He's like, the deal's almost done, and we're sitting at the jewelry store. He's got his whole family here, and he's like, so do you want to come like help build this organization? And I'm like, dude, I've got a little more free time now. I would love to. So it was more of a, you know, Nate kind of invited me to be back part of the organization, and I had a little more free time. And you know, that's kind of always been the goal for this team, you know, especially a lot of us being like players that have played in the pro ranks, even though it's been short or a little bit longer. I think all of us are like, dude, we deserve to be here. We work our asses off to be here. Like, let's prove it. And Nate's given us the opportunity. So we're all super thrilled. I mean, everyone has got a total different attitude going into this year, and we're all just completely positive. And we know it's going to be tough and it's going to be rough, but I think with just the dedication and the grind and the grit, we'll be able to do something with this organization that I think everyone is doubting us a little bit. And it's kind of cool because we're going to be the underdogs all year. And I mean, we're just all super excited to prove something and to prove that we deserve to be here. So I was kind of, when Nate gave me the offer, kind of extended it to be back as part of the team. I was like, dude, how can I deny? You know, it's like, it was a good friend of mine asking me for a favor in a way. And I'm like, yeah, let's go.
Yep. And kind of to circle back, sorry, March, go ahead.
All good. No, go ahead. You're good.
I was just going to say, with the bigger rosters, at some point, it's going to go to split deck's going to disappear at some point, you know, whether they have two fields or not. So it is advantageous to have, you know, that 9, 10, 11, 12 players for when that moment arrives, because I could see that happening in the near future. It's just good for the show, right? And if you go to no split deck, you're going to need some more bodies. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, especially if they shorten the time in between points, which is how they would pull that off, right?
That's right. Yep.
I think every team needs like their soldiers too. So we have a couple guys that are great at just like being part of the team and wanting to be there. And they don't necessarily expect the world. They just know that they're there. They're part of the organization. We love them. They love us. And I think those guys are the most important part of the team. And every team has them. And they're super important to have because they keep everyone accountable.
Totally agree. Absolutely agree. Have you guys stated like clearly defined goals of what you want to accomplish this year? And if you have, are you comfortable sharing them on the show?
Yeah, I will. You know, we want to make a showing. You know, we know we're, like Hank just said, we're the underdog. And I'm going to be realistic, and I don't mean this in a negative way. Our goal this year is to not be relegated. Like, we don't want to be in the contention for that, right? It's our first year. We know that there's some hitters in the roster or in the ranks, right? And we know, like, we've practiced with you guys, played against you many times. There's a difference between performing on a practice field and performing on the, you know, at the real day. And we, you know, like, so our goal, first event, win some points, right? Win a match.
I like it.
Goal, second event, win 2 matches. You know, go 2. We want to be 2-2. You're going to sit at 2-2. Okay, you're on the bubble now. And make a Sunday by the end of the year. That's our goal, right? And that will keep us out of contention. And we know we're going to be middle of the pack, and that's a great place to start. We got some really solid backing from our sponsors, and we want to make them proud. We got some people in our corner that, you know, old friends and some newer friends too, and we want to make them proud and do a good showing. So our goals are, you know, slow, steady. Like, you can't win a match if you don't win a point. You know, it starts with 1 point, and this thing starts with another one, and just keep our world small, one bite at a time, and some steady progression throughout the year of every event, every match we go we're better than the one before it. That's our goal.
I love it.
Yeah.
Amazing. I think a lot of organizations get that, even the top organizations. Sometimes you get a little complacent and you don't go into a new year setting clearly defined goals, and making sure that everybody's on the same page. That alone, that communication alone is so important. And any team that I've worked with in the past or coached, at the start of every year, we have a similar, get together, whether it's a Zoom meeting or actually in person, however you could get everybody together and get on the same page and clearly state your goals. Only then can you do the things necessary to achieve those goals, right? And you get everybody to buy in and agree, so that, halfway through the season, you don't have half the team in one direction, half the team in another direction. That's awesome, guys. What is your practice schedule going to look like? Are you guys going to be traveling to play other pro teams on layout weekends, or are you guys going to play yourselves? Some teams like to just drill. What's that look like?
Kind of a hybrid between those. So the bookend events, the Florida events, just due to weather, we're going to travel, unless something happens at the end of the year that the weather changes significantly. But, we're going to Tiki's for Thunder Valley for the first, for Tampa layout. And we're just going to, we'll have that house for 2 weeks. Guys can stick around and play every day, or a couple of guys are traveling back and forth, and planning for the same at the end of the year. The in-between events, tentatively, we're going to stay near home. We're going to either bring some people into us. We also, our home field's Wyldside. We're kind of west of Rockford, west of Chicago, just a little bit in Rockford, about an hour and a half, 2 hours west of Chicago. And it's a great facility, turf, brand new bunker set, a bunch of things going on there. So that we want to make that our home and play there. And then we also do have blast camps a couple hours away. And, they got a good roster, and we're friends with them. A lot of those guys have played with us on and off throughout the years. So we're going to jump in some spins with them. Infamous has about 5 of their guys locally as well. There's a couple others, a couple of Heat guys that live local that were all, Cody and Nate Roberts is, does drills with Cody Mikowski like at least once a week. So, we're real tight with those guys. So a lot of our off weekend non-layouts will be mixed in with some kind of the Chicago pros and whoever's local, and then ourselves. And then, layouts, we're going to kind of play it by ear, based on what we can, but for sure we're going to Tiki's Thunder Valley for the first one, planning the same for the last one. And then, we'll bring some teams in or bounce around for the other layouts as needed.
Yeah. You guys have a really strong pocket right now in the Midwest, a lot of hungry paintball players and great fields out there as well. So if you haven't, go check those fields out if you're in the area. And then what would be some of the best advice you could give, or most valuable advice for listeners in trying to, bring value to sponsors and landing deals? Because it's super important in order to have a successful organization that you have good symbiotic relationships with the sponsors and getting those deals dialed in.
I think that this is something that all paintball, maybe not all, but most paintball players and teams struggle with. And ourselves is right there on that list, right? But we have to understand that we're brand ambassadors first and players second, even if we don't have a title, right? So we're walking ambassadors for the sport as a whole, and not just for those 3 hours you're at the field on a Sunday or whenever it is. Like, people know, right? Your friends and family know who you are, and they get to pick, are you the sleazy paintballer and that's the name that they give the industry, or are you somebody who's clean cut and really respectable and they really like, man, you're a good dude. That guy's a good guy. And then that's who they think of. So when they hear down the road, when they hear paintball or pro paint, they immediately have that like light bulb, or like the energy increases, like, yeah. Oh, I know Marcelo. He's a great dude. Yeah, he's my buddy, or whatever that metric is. And so that starts on and off the field, how you carry yourself on the field, how you carry yourself off the field, your social medias, the way you're doing things on a random Thursday night and stuff like that. So it's showing your sponsors in a good light, but the way that, in my impression, the way you do that the best is by carrying yourself in a good light and carrying yourself professionally. And it's just, it's going to reflect on them well. Right. And then just as an organization, we want to highlight the people that have been there with us and are supporting us, because it's a big deal. We wouldn't be able to be here. You guys know it takes a lot of money to fund a team, especially at a high level, semi-pro. It takes a lot of money, and we wouldn't be here if we didn't have the support and backing from those standing behind us, from Bob, the owner of Wyldside, from GI and JT, who's really stepped it up, like old friends, right? Ruthless is a new relationship for us, but Steve, one of their managers, like I was roommates with and played with in the early 2000s, right? Like, we've known each other for forever, didn't have an official relationship, and then we got a bunch of off-field or off-industry sponsors too. Like guys are like, hey, I own a roofing company. Can I throw you a couple bucks and put your name on the jersey? I just want to support you.
Nice.
and those are the guys. Maybe there's people that play, or maybe there are people that are like adjacent to us or have played or something like that. There's a lot of good relationships there, but the key component is just remembering who got you here, right? And why are you here? Because every one of our players knows it and they feel it. I mean, we can feel when we're talking to them. They wouldn't be able to do this if they didn't have these people and these sponsors backing us.
Absolutely. And for the team, what's the Instagram for the team so everybody can be sure to follow and support you guys?
It's Wyldside Distortion DST.
All right. There you go. Everybody give them a follow.
And that's WYLD side for everybody out there, right?
Hold your sweater up, Nate.
But yeah, there we go.
Yeah, we got it on the
Distortion.
YouTube.
I like it. You got to spell wild in a wild way. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
A little different. Yeah, I like it. What do you guys think and this is actually a question from CM Harry from the Discord, but what do you guys think the biggest difference between semi-pro and pro is going to be?
I think as a player, since I've been there before, it's when you play semi-pro, it's kind of like we get to our spots and we wait for everyone else to make a mistake. You're like, oh, is that guy going to go up the middle? Is he going to come down the Doritos? In pro, it's not like that. Everyone's a lot more reactive in pro. So it's you get the spots, you're instantly on to the next thing. You can't win if you play read react. You have to read and just keep going. And I think the pace is a little bit different too. So you go down a point in semi-pro, you're like, okay, let's try to slow it down and try to shoot someone off the break and then maybe win the point and then they make it 1-1. In pro, it's not like that. It's you go down a point off the break, you go to the next point immediately and you keep going. There's no, oh, let's take a break and slow down. That doesn't work as well.
You have to actively go and win points in the pro division. Everyone has gotten so good that playing in a way to where you're trying to catch people making mistakes doesn't always work, unless you're one of the, significantly better teams. Even then, you have to go win points. Players have to go and win points, and you have to do it together. It has to be calculated. You got to be really sharp. You're absolutely right with that. That is definitely, as you climb the ranks, and even semi-pro is starting to get there too. I think the teams that do really well in semi-pro and have had success, they kind of play with that similar style, that same pace for sure.
I think there's a difference in like the short-term memory too. Like in pro, even if you're losing 0-3, you can still come back and win. In semi-pro, it's a lot harder to do compared to pro. Like in pro, you can put your foot on the gas a lot easier and keep going.
That's all up here. You can do that in semi-pro. You can do it in D2. You can do it in D3. Yeah. That is a mentality. It's a mentality that you got to practice. You got to train. You got to believe in. You got to have the whole group on the same page. But you're right. It like watching, we watch so much paintball. We really do. And Tyler and myself, we also work with divisional teams and we see it in their mentality as well. It does feel like being down 0-3 is like this huge feat for a lot of these organizations. Like, no, it's not. Just go win. Kind of like Nate said, win 1 point, focus on winning 1 point, win 1 good point right now. And now it's a 2-point game. Anything could happen. You get a good breakout on the next one. Guess what? Now it's a 1-point game and you have all the momentum. The other team's on their heels. But it all starts up here in between the ears, as Tyler always says. That mentality and that confidence that no matter what the situation, you're going to find a way to win the game rather than trying so desperately not to lose the game. That difference in thinking is the difference between winners and losers in every single division.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And when you have everybody thinking that way, it's hard to beat that.
I think that's something to mention in the pros as well is, semi-pros, you're going to have some wildly varying mentalities and mindsets and things. And when you get to the pro division, ideally it's diluted and now, or not diluted, but refined. And we have everyone on the roster is thinking the same way. Everyone on the roster and every team is, how can we be better? What can we do now? And like, what can we do better as a team? How do we grow and how do we make that faster, better on and off the field? Because you got 10 guys on the roster doing that instead of maybe in semi-pro, it's 2 or 3. And then there's 5 or 6 other guys that are kind of just in the mix.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And a lot of times teams will try to fight or resist what's happening. And you really need to lean into it. When things aren't going well, you can't spin out and fight it. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's making sense, but you gotta lean into it and say, no, this is right where we need to be. This is exactly what we need in front of us, and have faith and determination to persevere through those moments. Because like March said, and what we've been talking about, that little shift in mentality is the biggest difference maker in whether your team is going to come out winning by 1 point or losing by 2. Is that little shift in the mind. And then the energy that is approached with that and brought out onto the field is completely different. So instead of when shit hits the fan, instead of being like, oh my God, tailspin. What's happening? What are you doing? No, you should have looked this way. You just got to go, hey, everybody, deep breath. We're right where we need to be. Let's focus on this next point. Like you were saying, Nate, let's go get this one, and then let's get the next one, and let's get a rhythm going. The game is all rhythm based. You got to get these like tempos going. You got to curate the environment mentally and with how we approach the field for that tempo, to bring that tempo into the field, which is not easy, but those are the keys to the car that get it driving. You got to make sure the energy's right and everybody's on the same frequency moving into it. Otherwise, things can go haywire.
Yeah, no doubt. Things can spiral fast.
For sure.
Let's see. Question from the Discord. You guys did bring up Verb. He always asks this. I don't know if you guys listen to the show or not. If you do, you know what he's going to ask. But he wants to know, well, first he says, my man Hank, the insane jeweler, actually had him do some insane pieces for the wife and I. I think that's a story. Again, you have made an incredible couple of pieces for myself and my girlfriend Sahar. Really special, different. That ring she absolutely loves. So if anybody needs like really custom stuff done, he's your guy, 100%. Like I will not go anywhere else. The stuff is such high quality, good pricing, and the fact that you can customize it yourself is such a cool experience. We went back and forth on a lot of different things, and I think that's really, really unique and special.
What's his question? He's got to let the people know.
Okay, true that.
Where do they find you?
Yeah, so my Instagram, if you look up Jewelry by Simmons, it'll come up. Otherwise, my name, Gunther Stumpf, but the @ handle is Young, YOUNG, Geekin, GEEKINBSM. So that's my @ handle. But if you just look up Gunther Stumpf, I'll come up, or Jewelry by Simmons, I'll come up. So you can find me at either one of those places. And like Marcelo said, everything I do is full custom. So I don't have a traditional storefront where you can just come and pick something in off the shelf. Everything I do is custom, and we build it for you. So, and everything's done by me, completely by hand. There's no one else behind the scenes. It's just me. I don't have a little sweatshop army of people working. It's just me, myself, and I work one-on-one with clients. So
I've never, and people might not believe it because look, I got the necklace and stuff, but I've never been a big fan of jewelry because I thought it was kind of generic. But you changed that perspective for me because every single piece is special, unique, and it has like its own little story. So that I'm, it's even like buying jewelry for a girlfriend or, a wife or whatever. It never really seemed like a present that I cared to get, but this is different again, because it's unique. And I feel like I had a piece in creating it, and it's a one-off, and it's an entirely different experience.
Like I can't remember what we did with yours, but I think like the height of it is like also 33 millimeters.
33,
each tree has 33 stones. Like we made it work.
Yeah. No doubt. You're exactly right. That is what we did. And it's epic. And I think the rope was also 33 inches, I think. Or no, that's not true. I thought the rope had something with it too.
There's something else. There's a couple more.
Yeah, there is. Cool. But anyway, Verb's question is for both of you: favorite food and favorite place to eat it. And Gunther, you're not allowed to say cheese curds in Wisconsin.
So I'm not a big fan of going out to eat. Actually, I eat pretty clean. I cook all my meals. If I would say my favorite food is probably like Thai food of any sort. I love Thai food. But my last meal, I would cook myself because I'm a big cook. I would just cook myself a New York strip, and that's it. Nothing else, nothing with it. Just a New York strip, and
easy.
Eat it at home. Probably with my dad. My last meal, eat a steak with my dad. Just chill.
I love that.
Yeah.
Great answer.
Yep. Yeah, I'm similar, right? I used to eat out quite a bit the last couple of years. My oldest daughter and her boyfriend love cooking, so it's something that we value in the house every night. And so every time I go out to eat, like when we're traveling with paintball, it just kind of like falls a little flat. It's just not quite what it could be. So probably favorite meal is some steak tacos. We make some street corn tacos, so a little bit of corn, like this Mexican elote corn mixed in there with some good flank steak that's braised well, and it's like it's pretty fire. So
I just had that last night. Absolutely. That's what I was eating last night.
Nice.
So that's nice. Fire. Yeah. All right. You can't go wrong with some good street tacos. All right, we got Shax, and he's wondering, hey guys, what are you most looking forward to / not looking forward to in being pro this year? Some of the challenges that you're facing or expecting to see and work through, and he can't wait to watch y'all play.
For me as a player, I think the hardest thing, especially being in the Midwest, is the dedication. You know, we have to be completely dedicated all time. So that's the hardest part of paintball. I mean, you guys know, like, look behind you, all your trophies and whatnot. Like, dude, you are paintball 24/7. I mean, this is an off day in the off season, and you guys are still paintball 24/7. So I think that as a player, that's the hardest piece. And the thing I'm most excited for is to be back with my friends, with a team of guys that I know in real life, that I talk to in real life, and compete at the highest level again. I mean, I'm just super excited to be at the highest level again and be able to have the time and dedication to put into it and to make greatness. That's essentially what it is.
Love it.
Yeah, just grateful to be here, and the excitement to be, and not just in pro ranks, but like all the things that are happening this year in the league, like inside the stadium. You know, the 3-man is growing, right? And I think that's probably, we're heading that way down the road, right? You know, like that 3-man's got a lot of traction from a viewer standpoint. As much as I love traditional 5-man X-ball, but I'm just super like. There's not really anything that I'm not excited for in the pro division at the moment, you know, being honest. Like, I know there's going to be some hurdles. I know there's a lot of things we don't know. Like, you don't know what you don't know, as much as, like, I've been here before helping with Aftermath when John was running it. Like, John's been here before in a couple different teams, but that doesn't, it's a different world when it's yours versus being part of something, you know? So I'm sure there's some unknowns, but not worried about them. We'll figure them out as the time comes, but just excited and happy to be here.
That's right.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. We always say bob and weave. You just bob and weave.
I'm also
you know?
pretty excited to just learn,
Yeah.
to just be able to learn more, not only in like my normal life, but in my life as a paintball player and part of the paintball community. Because there's always more to learn from, you know, your peers and the people at the top. It doesn't matter what division you're in, right? The people at the top of D2 or the people at the top of semi-pro. There's always more to learn in real life from these people, and also in paintball. So I think that's something that, like, I'm super grateful to be here, because I've learned so much in normal life from the paintball community and in my paintball life, which is awesome.
Yeah, no doubt. And honestly, it is a good year to be a new team in pro. It's a very good year. You know, there's a lot of uncertainty at the bottom, you know, in the bottom half of the league. So, you know, really, you know, it is, in my opinion, in the last 5 to maybe 8 years, probably the best year for new pro teams, you know, to come in and have some other teams that are kind of on par, and you know, you're going to have some games that are definitely winnable, and you could be in striking distance of some Sundays. Okay, my last question is from Ken E. And he wants to know, does debuting into pro with the new 5-pod limit seem like an advantage or disadvantage? And how does it change your game?
I think it's an advantage. We're new, so no matter what we have coming in this year, we're a new team. We got a lot to learn, right? So to be honest, everything that can stack in our favor, we're going to take. So if everyone else is learning how to play with 5 pods at the same time, that's going to help. Right, it's going to change some tendencies of some the way we play the game. It might not right out the gate, but long term it will. And I think that favors our hungrier roster. Personally, it's also a little more as a team with probably lower funding compared to the rest of the division. A little bit cheaper practice, a little bit cheaper event, like, goes a long ways for us. It allows us, like. We don't know what that's going to really look like. It's still a little new for us to say, hey, that's going to be 30% less or whatever the metric is. But just even in Cali, we saw, like, I thought we bought not enough paint with the plan of, like, hey, we'll buy some extra from Hinge if we need to. And then we ended up, like, shooting it exactly what we needed. And it was like, with that many guys and stuff, it was just a little unique. So I think all that stuff stacks in our favor. Plus it's exciting and new. So that's cool too.
Yeah, it is interesting. There was so much. I mean, at the end of the season last year, I did not expect there to be the type of shifts that we saw moving into this season. There's, like, you know, 6 completely new organizations that have either merged or changed or popped into the scene. So that, coupled with the fact that, like you said, everybody is going to be learning how to play with 5 pods, it is a very convenient time if you were going to enter into the pro division with your new squad. Everyone's learning so much at the same time, so it is definitely a great time to be in there.
The writing on the wall seemed obvious in November when this came up. It was enough, the right moving parts, all the things. It was kind of a no-brainer decision at that point. It wasn't an even, like, is this right or is it not? It was like, oh, the timing's right, let's get in.
Yeah, and I think for the pro division that they are leaning towards the points scored for the differential maker on moving into the later rounds, as opposed to the margin is what it used to be. So with the 5 pods and the points scored tiebreaker type thing, I think we're going to see a little bit quicker paced game. So I am very curious to see what's going to happen with the paint consumption as well. Like, are we going to end up shooting about the same amount, just playing more points with the way that it's set up now? Or will it slow down once people get down to, one pod? Are they going to play scared, or are they going to go for the win? What's going to happen? Yep. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. I like the new bunkers. Was on them this weekend. Definitely opens the field up, removing 2 of the big wedges. You could just see over things. So it opens the entire field up no matter what, which I think is a good thing. And we shall see if we just end up playing more points, the same amount of paint or not. But that's fine. If the points are quicker, that's what we want. Even if we're playing the same amount of points, might not save money, but at the end of the day, it's what we want for the show. So it's all good stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
All good stuff. Awesome, guys. Well, if there are any shout outs you guys want to give to sponsors or players or anything else before we let you go, now is the time to do so. But we want to thank you guys for joining us. Really excited to see you guys compete this year, and really a lot of the new teams. I think the Pro Division is in for a very exciting season, not just from the play from the teams, but what the league's doing behind the scenes and all the stuff they're trying to bring to the table. So definitely exciting stuff. But now's your guys' time to any shout outs or tags or mentions.
Yeah, I just want to say, go ahead. I just want to say thank you to there's a lot of unsung heroes behind the scenes here that aren't on the podcast, aren't getting big names. And it starts with our sponsors at home, our home field Wyldside, and Bob is just a true supporter of the game. And our team as a whole, like whatever he can do to grow paintball. And I think that starts when we have a pro team, we can trickle down to the semi-pro, the D2, D3, D4. And as long as we can support them, we're helping grow in the sport as a whole. So having them, like I said, the other sponsors, GI, Ruthless, Sandana, Carbon, PB Retro, a bunch of guys on the list, right? They're all super helpful. But then also the pit staff and even the 9, 10, 11 guys on the roster that are there wiping guys off, filling pods, doing scouting reports, stuff like that. Like, there's been a couple guys on our roster that haven't seen a lot of playing time, but are absolutely a key component of our success. Like, absolutely, we wouldn't be here without them. And I think that's like Alex DeQuisto is one of the top. But he got a handful of points last year. Most improved player by far. Start of the year, we don't know if he's got a spot here or not. End of the year, starting at Cup and well earned, right?
Oh, man, I love that.
But every event along the way, he was getting paint, he was wiping people off, he was scouting, he was doing. What's the team need? I know this is my time. This guy's playing better, but what do I need? And that's we can't be here without those people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you need everybody on the team moving like that. Exactly.
Yes,
that's what. Yep.
Gunther?
Nate pretty much hit it on the head. We're a GI team, Imperial program, so all JT gear. We shoot PE guns. I guess that's just the main sponsors through paintball, and then of course we have Bob. So thank you, Bob.
Awesome.
Wyldside is awesome. You guys should anyone in the Midwest definitely check out that field once it gets a little bit nicer out, because he's going to grow that into a pretty premier park.
Yeah, it takes everybody, and it takes all the sponsors. So shout out to everybody who's helping the squad make their dreams a reality. Hank, before I let you go,
anybody in paintball, thank you to everybody in paintball. We're such a small industry, and without even little shows like this, this brings engagement.
Whoa, bro! Little shows like this, what is that? My
comparatively to ESPN, right? We're very, very small compared to football, like the Super Bowl, right? We're a very small industry.
Little old PTG,
PTG. Yeah. All of this little stuff brings such good engagement.
It's cute. It's a cute little show. All right, hey, one word to describe your team before we let you go. Heading into the 2026 season, what do you got, Hank?
I would say chaotic.
Let's go.
I like it.
Nice.
Bring the chaos, baby. And paintball is chaotic, man. But like we spoke about, everybody's
into it.
Yeah, that's right. And just playing good team ball and supporting each other along the way. And I do got a couple what you said. Thank you to everybody out there who supports our little show. We love you. We appreciate you. And we're just grateful to be a part of this little community in this little world and having fun playing this little game, because it is amazing. And we're so lucky to have
one day it's going to be big, though. We're all making moves and pushing it in that direction. So let's make this thing. One day we'll be a big show. We'll make you proud one day, Gunther.
We're going to be big someday. I'm telling you.
Thank you guys so much. Well, actually, sorry, Nate, one word from you as well.
I think I'm going to go with gratitude, although I think Hank's right.
I like it. Awesome,
Yeah,
guys. Well, really enjoyed this conversation.
Love you guys.
Yeah,
right
no
back
doubt,
at you.
man.
Yep.
We'll see you guys
right
soon.
back at you. Yeah, we'll see you guys in Florida in not too long. You guys be safe, all right?
Yep, you
You
as
guys
well.
as well.
All right. Peace.
Yeah, man. Peace. All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening to the show. We appreciate your support more than you know. As you guys heard about midway through the episode, if you guys would like to support PTG in any way, you could head over to ptgpaintball.com. You could click the orange Patreon link and sign up at any level and get access to our Discord. The Discord is one of the most phenomenal communities in the game of paintball. We have so many different channels in there. It's great for learning. It's great for connecting, finding teams, selling equipment, whatever it is you want to do in there. We truly have it all. And we hope to see you in there. So again, head over to ptgpaintball.com, click the orange Patreon link, and we'll see you in there.